if it were in my hands. And so I think that I would hope that that would be the case, you know, at least to have a conversation, good conversation about it. Who knows what comes from that? You know, maybe we say it was approved, you have that conversation, and maybe you get something to pay that's, maybe she even does something, you know, to take that number and reduce it some. I certainly can try to help encourage.
Talked about too, maybe she's the
Yeah, fine. Do we just need to do a resolution to approve him? Since it's already been done, what do we need to do?
Just a motion.
Still needs a motion.
Yeah, motion to approve.
I would suggest that if you folks are okay with it, is to make a motion to approve 26,000, not to exceed 26,999, and then see what happens.
Who needs to sign it?
Okay, I can sign it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
So I would say-
Would you like?
Tell me when, Trent.
Okay, one more. Yeah.
Like, do we want to
We
go
wanna
through
do
this
this,
real
yeah.
quick?
Okay, we'll get this up.
Alright. I'll make a motion to approve the mid-state recreation
Not to exceed.
mound project in an amount not to exceed $26,000, or $26,999.50, and for signature by Dan Carter.
All in favor?
Aye.
And moving on to the next item, or actually, I guess we're going back, we're circling back to item. Yeah, if you want to, because you can kind of, I mean, we can turn out one more if you want. Well, that's the detention area.
Oh, that's the retention.
So this is the, let me point out kind of, this is the path. Okay, it runs parallel to the road. These little shade areas are the whiting of the road, sorry. And the white is the existing road, okay? So this is the grass area you have that's kind of just flat. And that was in by intent, just kind of have a nice open area there. This is all detention area, dry detention area, and then parking lot with these detention areas. And so, you know, for it to be recognizable along the road, I think you want it here somewhere, maybe probably closer to the path than not, just for the standpoint of being out of the way of utility and stuff. We can kind of, that way, as long as you're okay with us, you know, making sure it's in the correct place this way, I think the question is more this way. Can you zoom out one more time, Stephanie, please?
Yep, hang
Just
on
to
1
get a
second.
picture of the entire park. And there's the pickleball. So here's the beginning of the playground. Maybe one more.
You want me to just scroll down a little?
No, just out a little bit more. Just to kind of get a full, and then you can scroll down a little bit, but that gives you the full. So this is the playground area and the mounting we were just talking about in these areas, okay? Splash pad, building, restroom building, pickleball. And so I think the only reason that we were kind of had it up towards the east end, well, I thought it was towards the west, is just because of where the power was coming from. It was more in a straight line. But I think we decided that the power to the sign might be a separate meter anyways, because we weren't going to go. Kevin, is it right? We're not going to go to the building with the power and then back to the sign. We're just going to go to the sign separate.
Yeah, so the sign will be a separate service.
Do you remember where that pole's at, that it comes from?
It's closer to the east drive.
It is, so maybe that's why we were talking about closer.
We were talking about closer to the east would be
Because it's a shorter run.
because it's shorter run,
Okay.
but it's whatever the board wants.
Yeah. So basically, either in this area, or somewhere in this area. We wouldn't want to be too close to the entrance, I don't think, because we gotta, what's not shown here, there's a culvert pipe here, and we have a little swale, so we want to be, you know, and again, it'll be closer to the path.
Feels like a seven foot.
It seems like to me, what's the savings?
Our EMC's been pretty good with us on this project so far, so they may not charge us an additional if we move it further.
Stephanie, can you scroll down so that we can see the top?
It's the top entrance around there. Is that
Yeah.
what it's for?
Oh, the top, you said?
Yeah, the west entrance.
Oh, hold on. I don't know what just happened. Sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, that just feels, central feels right.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, center between here and here,
Yeah.
yeah, like there,
Yeah.
something like that. That makes sense to me.
We don't have to make a resolution for that.
All we need is one more.
All right, everybody agreed?
Yeah,
Center?
I agree.
Center.
As long as they can get-
That's our
as long as
legacy.
it doesn't point in and out.
You for the town, put that sign right in the center.
It was gonna be 5 feet that way.
That's my legacy.
Happy day, Susie. Oh, I'll be here.
All right. Let's see, the lower bottom pit, Dan, is that you gonna discuss that?
Yeah, and Trent, you can help me out on this, but this change order is to lower the grade in the bottom of the splash pad pit. And it all comes down to a drainage issue. In order to get good drainage out of the bottom of the splash pad, we discovered that we need to lower the grade inside for it to drain accurately. And if we didn't, we were concerned about the possibility of freezing or that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it didn't have good positive drainage. The pipe going from the splash pad draining was a little better than flat, but not very good, and so we had some concerns with that. We reached back to the designer that did that, which is the sub of the sub, and they looked at it and said, yeah, you're probably right. It should be probably lower. So the way I kind of look at these is, was there a fault there on a design side that needs to be flushed out with that designer? And then the way to look at that is, well, what's the delta cost, right? So in other words, if it would have been put lower to begin with, then the contractor would have already, when he did it, he would have put a little bit more money to dig out that and get it lower, and we'd be seeing this cost anyways in the bid. Does that make sense? So there's no measurable delta for the mistake in my mind.
It's the first time cost.
And unless we would get a number from the contractor that would be like absorbent, where we say, whoa, they're giving us a number that's not reasonable, and then that fault lies on the designer, because if we'd have done it in the bid, we wouldn't be dealing with this, right? But I think it was a couple $1,000s, and we lowered it a few feet just to make sure we're good with drainage and with freezing and so forth. So I don't see a delta that we would go back to the sub designer and say, we need you to cover this cost. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm still perplexed how the design, so there was a design flaw, it just didn't really add much to the cost. Is that the?
If the design would have been right, then the contractor would have had to dig this thing down. I mean, it's down in the ground, so it's a hole.
Yeah.
He would have had to dig it deeper anyways, and he would have put that into his bid. Yeah. And he didn't put it in the bid because it wasn't that deep.
So we need the approval of this change order number 3, I believe it is. And we need authorization to sign. If you're agreeing with it.
I just don't know what the end of this is, to be honest. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the end of this is, but I get it.
Or the what is?
For the end,
Oh, the end.
yeah.
Yeah,
Two
and,
last
you know, I
meeting,
know you
one
kind
this
of
one.
already, you've already kind of explained, hey, we built in a lot of this, it's still just.
Yeah, at some point in time, the well does run dry.
Yeah, but it is.
Can we, I know we've got this here. Maybe it's still in here. I should have brought one. That's from last package. How much do we actually have?
Money?
Yeah, what did we budget? I know we got a little bit in the
I think
reserve.
last I heard, our contingency amount was a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
That we had left to play with.
Yeah.
And we have some negatives that we haven't brought to you yet, some savings.
Yeah, we have a substantial
Yeah.
negative change.
So we have some, and that'll flush out.
In the future, is it possible to get just kind of just like a running tally of?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And I feel like we're to the point where I can give you one that, is a pretty good, because when you get above ground on projects, then you get out a lot of the unknowns and issues. that could come forward. So I can come to the next meeting. I think I can't be here for the next meeting. I will have a report for Dan at the next meeting to present kind of where we think the project will be.
Okay.
I think that's a December
You're gonna
9th
feel a
or
little bit
something.
careless of us to keep approving
And I'm not gonna be here.
expenditures.
December 9th,
Agreed.
something like that.
Last
I
time
think that's
updated
right.
this on October 21st, which was, I guess, around the time of the last meeting. The construction bond had $3.31 million in it. At that time, we had a balance of $2.2 million you had to spend in that.
But that might be spent versus, what we have bid.
Yeah, I'm just looking at.
So let me come to you with the bid, all of our change orders and a list, and I'll give that, I won't be able to be here, but I'll give that report to Dan, and if, I can have Charles here to help answer any questions.
Perfect.
And maybe if you can make, for me, it would be helpful if you made that a live document, and then the town can, we can like keep that updated.
Yeah, I'm just
That
thinking
would
like
be
each
helpful.
meeting.
time
we're gonna
add
have
that.
that thing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We can do it.
Awesome.
By the way, we don't have projects without change orders.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
100%.
This is nothing compared to the police station.
Oh,
Just saying.
sure.
Police station had
Over 50.
over 50 changes.
Yeah, that was surprising. My dad was building. I know. Well, so I mean, I guess I'll just.
Fire away, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve change order number 3 to be signed by Dan Cartwright.
And you have to-
Oh, yeah. The amount not to exceed $2,120.58.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to new business item D, Crossroad Engineers, engineering services for the soccer field.
Okay. If you recall at the last meeting, Andrew was here and he talked about the MOU, memorandum of understanding with the soccer group. And that we were going to proceed with the upgrading of their 2 parking lots and a walk path or trail all the way around the perimeter of the soccer field. Trent has done his investigations. And I understand Andrew and him actually went out and walked the locations of the trail, and they've agreed that this is where the trail should be. So now we're at a point where we need to start the design process. And what this is a contract, a quote, a proposal from Crossroads Engineering to do the design for the work associated with the soccer field. And it was $89,500. And we're asking this board to approve that and give me the authorization to sign.
I guess I just have a question. Trent, I looked at the contract. I mean, there's nothing there was something about, I think that you guys had to do some drainage, that you may do some drainage assessments right now. You're not sure.
Yeah, so what we're hoping, what we're assuming in our contract is that we can do water quality only and not detention. And I'm pretty confident about that because in talking with Joe, and I actually had a conversation with Roy Powerscotter as well, back when they did the pavement, the parking lot, they looked into that and they said that it wasn't going to have to do detention for the project, but they were going to do water quality. Well, the water quality out in this is sheet flow because basically when we do the path, it all just sheets onto the soccer fields. In talking with the people that run the soccer property, they said drainage is not an issue. It drains really well. After rains, they don't have issues. So we just want to keep that the same. But that's the assumption, that we don't have to do detention design. My only concern before the walkthrough was they were talking about adding parking area off the north end of that west parking. where they park during events on the grass.
Yep. That
And
people that are-
I was afraid that that might trigger, because it's all new area, it's grass. But what we said in the walkthrough is they don't want to pave that area. They'll continue to grass park that area. They said eventually, if they have other parking, resolute, if they find a way to resolve their parking issues on big events and other places, they'd like to make that could be a playground, or that could be something else besides parking, so they don't want to pave it.
That's up by the cell tower.
Yeah. And so that helps relieve me that we have done the proposal, what I think will really be required, which is no detention, but the water quality of it just some sheet flow. And this is a perimeter. I don't know if you've seen the layout of this.
Basically goes all the way around the outside of the.
The last meeting, I think maybe they showed a
Yeah.
high level sketch.
Do you mean layout of the fields, Trent, or do you mean layout of the proposed path?
The layout of the path. It won't really affect the layout of the fields. Sorry, I thought I had it on my phone. It's going to be basically around the perimeter. There are a few of the fields on the east property line that are fairly close to and need to be shifted over. But when we walked it with the two gentlemen that kind of run the thing, there's some inside room that's wider than it needs to be. And we can move those fields and shift them to the west and have that room. There was talk about moving the path to the middle because they have some desire to have a path in the middle for their own emergency, ambulance coming up the middle and stuff. But in my opinion, that wasn't really the best route for the path. It doesn't really maximize the mileage. And during events, that area is just going to be so crowded with people that nobody is from outside is probably going to run that, or walk it or whatever, or not many this many. So I think everybody kind of came to that conclusion that the best thing to do is around, and it's about a mile length path on its own. And it would obviously have a connection to the path on Whiteland Road, which then connects all the way into town. So I think it'll be a really nice amenity. And then there could be future amenities, like they mentioned, the playground and things that, could be done in that area that would be really cool.
This might be a side comment. Was there any discussion about a potential crosswalk from the path that is on Whiteland Road currently to the entrance to the facility that is on Whiteland Road?
We did talk about that. Some of that has to do with them getting some kind of a permanent agreement with the people on the north side. That area was purchased recently by the hospital on the north side, and I don't know what they plan to do with it. But if the soccer club can ever get their hands on that property, then they'd like to make it their permanent overflow for parking. Right now, they obviously use it for that, and that's what generates a lot of crossing there. And I told them that really the best place to put a pedestrian crossing is not where the road cut is into the parking lot, the turn. That's where they do it now, because they put a cop there, so the cop kind of addresses car traffic as well as pedestrians. But if we're ever going to get away from a cop, which maybe they don't in their biggest events, but just to get away from a problem area, you really want to separate turning car movements and people crossing. So we want to maybe go to the west a little bit with a crossing across the median and put the push button signal in like we have down at the school on Whiteland Road. And that would be a very good and safe crossing into the property. I think it all depends on, they're not sure how long they're going to be able to use that overflow parking because of the new owner and everything. So
How about then, because so my sorry to delve this out to any further and has to go, but so, to me, we want to, ideally with these trails that we're building throughout the town, it's, especially when you're talking about a park, having trails that connect to a park, which has another trail, would be really nice for our community, so you can run on, because when you're on the trail, you're limited where you're at, so you can change where you're going, you're running on this trail on Whiteland Road, and you want to pop over to SCSA and do a loop around there for a mile. I think that would be really nice from a long-term standpoint of this park. So moving over to, what is that, Morgantown?
Mhm.
Morgantown Road, would it be possible to do something was there any discussion about connecting that trail somehow to Morgantown Road and then up?
144.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's a long-term discussion,
Okay.
right? Right now, the easy connection you have that's built is the Whiteland Road path. And, if you really want to get a connection to this thing, to that, all it takes is one crossing.
right.
And I think that's, yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, a crossing a little bit west of where the turn is there, and some push button lights, and you're connected. And so, obviously, until then, people are going to cross wherever they feel safe, or they're going to go. We did talk about, with this project, designing it, we will design a spur that will go west of the roundabout. So if people want to cross where it's safest, they will just take this path that's going to be along Whiteland Road, but also all the way around the perimeter, go west to the roundabout, and cross there to the Whiteland Road path.
Yeah.
Long-term, I think a path going down Morgantown, a path coming up 144, those are all things that should be in the plan. As you probably know, the county and the town are talking about 144 improvements, probably focused on from the roundabout to 69, not as much to the east, but it is all in our future. So somewhere in the next 20 years, I think these are things you're going to see. And when those get improved, I think everybody is on board with putting some kind of pedestrian way along roadways. We won that battle with Whiteland Road, which was hard fought because the commissioners first told me, no, we're not paying for a trail, but we got them convinced. And I think everybody now sees the value of that. I am under contract to do a roundabout with the county also at 144 in Morgantown.
144 Morgan.
Yeah, and we will set it up for path, future path crossings and connectivity for things like this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though, if you could actually walk from the soccer fields across the road to Whiteland Road, head east on Whiteland Road to Saddle Club, take that trail from Saddle Club and get all the way to Ketmark.
Can we do that?
Then get all the way to Ketmark.
Yeah.
So there's just
Well,
a
and
crosswalk.
into town.
And there's no handicap thing. So like you gotta pop your bike up over the curb. It's just,
To get
It's
to
no
the soccer field?
yeah,
Yeah, so the
You can.
easy fix to that is to build a crossing.
right.
And that's not a hugely expensive thing. It's not in this budget. But if it wanted to be, it could be. It's not too late to look at something like that.
I would be totally in favor of that. That's just my.
So, I mean, this is just your contract, Trent. Like, if we wanted you to design, like, add that into the design as well, would you just, like, do we need to sign this today, or would you come back with a different proposal of what it would take?
It would be a supplemental, but
Okay.
but on the design side, it'd be pretty minor. I mean, it's outside of our survey area, and it'd be a little bit of design work, but it'd be pretty minor addition. It's obviously going to be a more major construction cost addition.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's something that you got to
We can
decide.
always add to this.
So you're saying, sign this today, and then,
Yeah, because I think in order to evaluate that, it's a kind of thing where I wouldn't pay to design it unless you really know you want to build it. And so we probably want to look at that and say, here's what it would cost to build it, and let you look at that and look at your budgets and decide, can I add that to the project? This project, we did give a cost estimate for this project for construction, but it does not include that part.
Okay, well, thank you, Trent.
Yeah, thanks, Trent.
Was there a motion to approve this?
Not
Oh,
yet.
getting ready to.
Okay.
Signed by you?
Yeah.
I guess I'm the motion guy today.
We're learning from you, so we can fill in later.
I don't know, you would think so, but I'll make a motion to approve the Crushers Engineering contract in an amount not to exceed $89,500. And to be signed by Dan Cartwright for the soccer field design. So,
Second that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
And it's already over $1 million project.
I thought you had said that last time, yeah.
So it's just a matter of where you're going to fund it from, and then can you add some for a crossing. But I think it makes a lot of sense. And we did talk about when we walked through just last week, the property, but I had already given the proposal proposals. So I think it's something we can come back and talk about.
Do you guys
You could
wanna-
literally go from Kemp Park, ride your bike across Whiteland and come all the way
Oh, yeah.
and cross and go to the soccer,
Yeah.
which I think makes total sense.
Right.
So Trent, from a order of magnitude perspective, you know, we're on record and we won't hold you to, I mean, is this, to do the crosswalk, does that feel like a $10,000, $50,000?
For the design part?
No, more like the
Oh, for the
construction.
construction part?
It'd be more than 10,000.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be 30 to 40.
Okay, that's, to me, is, I think, $1 million project for that tech benefit,
Yeah.
it's nothing, but.
And this would be RIF, right?
Hmm?
This project would be RIF funded, correct, part of that, right?
It
RIF dollars.
could possibly be funded partially by the street part, by the street too.
Okay.
Something like that. Cool. That makes sense to me.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Parks Director, item E is, discussion regarding the Parks Director position, I guess that is here.
Yeah, I want to give you enough, I just want to give you an update of where we are on that. We have
Did you just submit?
been running an ad
But there's
Okay.
and,
there's two of it, but one of them is. the-
I don't know, I
By
haven't
the
seen all
meeting,
the
they just look at it, so they
Okay.
can see what.
Krista.
Okay.
Goes around, but when you run an ad,
I'm
and
better
it gets on
prepared with hard
Indeed,
copy next time, I'm sorry.
you know, you're liable to find someone, well, I've 10 years of experience being a daycare operator.
Yeah.
You know, but we have 4 very, very good candidates, resumes that have been in. And we are actually, Carissa and I are going through, we're the first step of interviews. And our first interview is at 10 o'clock this morning, as a matter of fact. And we had interviewed at 10 and 11, but the one at 11 just notified us last night that they were going to pull out. So we have another one on Monday. So we're starting to interview. They're good candidates. As far as on paper, they're good candidates. So we're starting that process. My goal would be to, like I said all along, is to try to have this person employed by the first of the year, or sometime after the first of the year. I want to discuss with the board how they want to handle this, because I'm assuming at some point in time before we actually make the offer, the board would like to have the opportunity to interview that candidate too, or at least meet that candidate. So that can either be done at the entire board. If it's done with the entire board, I guess has an executive session.
Well,
Yeah, it can be done in an executive session.
So we can, that was my
Yes.
concern for confidentiality purposes,
Yes.
candidates. So we want that to be public, so.
Have a good day.
So
So 2 of us can be with them.
two of you can meet, if you guys designate 2 people, then it can be done that way without an executive session.
No,
The other
so
two-
it's the oddity of a 4-person board. 2 of you are still gonna meet, I'd say for public.
Still, yeah.
It's odd. I would notice it for an
So
executive.
this
session.
feels like, how about this? So you're proposing that once you guys have made the decision that we review and approve the final person, or are we gonna help?
We are probably, we were looking at, we might bring you 1 or 2 to look at,
Yeah,
okay? It may only be 1,
Yeah.
because it may be, hey, it's so obvious.
yeah.
But I would just want you folks to meet this person. It may be a man, maybe a woman. We're interviewing both. I think actually today at 10 o'clock, it's a woman. Who is a parks director and another municipality.
So I guess my suggestion would be then kind of leave it to you guys to determine whether it's 1 or 2. If one's obvious, then that's fine, but if it's teetering or even close, I would say that, probably bring both of them to us. And then, to me, it seems like the easiest thing to do would be, and again, I'm assuming we can do this outside of, having to release to the public, but is it possible, once you guys have made, whether it's 1 or 2, send us the resumes, that way we can at least kind of review them on paper and then bring them into an I guess it depends. You have to do two separate executive
No, you can
sessions.
do one executive session and,
I was just trying to think of not having them both here.
well, we've done it,
Yeah, sure.
If that's the case.
Yeah,
what we've done in the past, council's done in the past, when they've interviewed people for positions is scheduled them, and we're gonna have an executive session starting at 9, the first person gonna come in at 9:15. Allow 45 minutes for interview, and the next person's, 10:30 or something like that. So there is that break, and then there's an opportunity to discuss
yeah.
after.
That makes sense to you guys?
Your meetings are the second Friday of the month, so that would put us back to
December 9th.
December. And which I'm fine with that. I wouldn't want it to go any longer than that, just in order to get the person, because the person's gonna have to give probably a 2-week notice.
So if we come, understanding that we need to make a decision that day, we can't table our decision at any point. We have to make a decision that day.
So one other option is to call for, is have a special executive session meeting earlier.
Yeah, we just have to give 48 hours notice.
I'm fine with that too.
Well, if you guys are okay with it, then why don't we, we'll still have our meeting the second Friday of the month, but we'll have let's advertise and do a special executive session. The 1st of December, something like that. That gives us some extra time. I mean, because of Thanksgiving, really doing it the time of, and we wouldn't be ready before Thanksgiving, but I think we can be ready by the 1st of December, so.
So then,
I think our next meeting is December 9th, so that's very close to the start of December.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe December 9th isn't so bad. We can just have one meeting, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's up to you guys.
I'm fine to do executives on
Okay,
So executive session on the 9th?
that. Yeah.
What time?
okay, when you advertise that, let's advertise executive session at 8:30 and the actual meeting at 9:30, okay?
And you can just do the meeting follow immediately after the conclusion of the.
Yeah, I know, the problem is that then we got people standing. We did it with other RDC, and we got 15 people standing out there trying to open the door, and we say,
When I made the announcement of the meeting, I stated the public meeting starts at 8:30.
Yep.
And they came at 7:30 instead,
okay, all right.
so. It's just how they read it.
I just need to have a bunch of people standing out there. Of course, we aren't gonna have a lot of people.
We haven't had a line
Yeah,
yet.
that's right. So we'll have an executive session then.
At 8:30 with the meeting to follow?
Mhm.
Okay.
And that date was December the 9th, right?
Yep.
So we will be in a position to bring forth a candidate or two for you to review.
And having the resumes prior.
Oh, yeah, we'll get you, we already have, just as an example, here's a candidate that we are interviewing at 10 o'clock today. And we've already done phone screen questions, okay? And and the questions are, why are you looking for new employment? What stood out about this job? What's your experience in construction of parks? What makes you a good leader? Those were all phone interviews that Krista did. So we'll give you all that stuff.
Okay.
So you'll have all of that besides the actual resume qualifications. And then we'll also include the job description, so you'll be able to look at that also.
And we trust, obviously, that you're gonna be asking questions of this candidate that you're gonna need to know ahead of time as well, obviously, because, we've kind of discussed, hey, here's the dollars we have for this project, and here's some of the things we're expecting them to do, that kind of thing, so.
The salary ordinance is, $58,000 to $70,000, I think, for this position. One of the questions that Chris asked in the phone interview is, what's your salary expectations? And they were all in the $68,000 to $70,000.
That's to be expected.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's take a look at
So,
previous.
I'm sorry, yeah, Steph, let's not forget, we gotta get this stuff to them ahead with their packet.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Everybody had a chance to look at the previous meeting's minutes?
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion that we accept.
She just wants to get her name in.
Make a motion that we accept the October 21st, 22nd board meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And has everyone had a chance to review the expenses?
I didn't have any concerns.
Primary grounds is finished now, right? They're done.
They are still going to do a leaf cleanup, correct?
They're gonna, I think they said these through December 1st is when they're done.
Wow. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what they said. I don't quote me 100% on it. I think it's at the start of December.
That'll be the first order of business probably for this new person to figure out how we're gonna keep. Because we did that pretty much in January.
Yeah.
When we started the bid out for- Okay, outstanding. Any other questions on the budget? All right, very good. I don't believe that's a motionable item. And it looks like our next meeting is, as we previously discussed.
You got to vote on it.
Yeah, do we just have to approve?
Just motion to approve, and then I need a second.
Do we have a motion to approve the expense approval report as presented in the meeting packet?
So moved.
Still seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting December 9th at 8:30 a.m. We discussed. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. 30. Got it.
Oh, man.
It's on the dot.